Good evening and welcome everyone. I'm here with my little special guest presenter. Say hi, Sophie. Um, and welcome to this week's track guide. We're in the F3. We'll be racing here tomorrow night, Tuesday night, in legacorsa.com competitions. And we'll be racing the DTM to 2018 DTM cars on Thursday. So as always with the track guide, we're going to do a flying lap that I'm going to try and talk you through as we go through it. And then the next section, we're going to do a broken down turn by turn analysis, show you my braking points, turn in points, stuff like that, where I can go quicker, where I think I'm quick, where I'm slow, all that kind of stuff. The next section after that, we're going to concentrate on racecraft. There's going to be loads of overtaking but on this track, but it all depends if you're going to be the one overtaking or the one being overtaken. There are also lots of opportunities to defend on this track and set up the person who's trying to overtake you for mistakes. We'll go into more detail on that. The next section after that, we're going to concentrate on setup. I'm not too confident in my setup this week. I haven't really spent too much time with it. I was having a lot of time actually, a lot of fun doing laps. The setup is decent. It did a good time, but I'm still a second off the lead. And I think that's a combination of setup and my actual line that I'm driving. And last but not least, I'm actually going to do an extra section this week. I accidentally joined the server while it was nighttime, and this track just looks stunning at night. So as always, the timestamps are in the description below. So if you want to skip to any one of those specific sections, or even a recap of what the sections are, it should be in the first line of the description below, and you can jump straight to the section. So you can jump back and forth and all that kind of stuff. So without further delay, let's go straight into the first lap. So start finish straight here is pretty long, not the longest we've seen. You've got markers on the left hand side, 100 marker. I actually brake after the curb. We'll go into more detail on that. This is a very fast section. You lift off, and you actually brake and lift off a little bit in the first corner. Here, more markers at the right hand side. After the 100 mark, down 2 gears, try and catch this apex and stay nice to the left of the track here. Lift off slightly here, turn in, grab that apex. It's kind of there's a crest there, so it's a blind apex, so you're going to have to find your optical points there. This is the worst corner on the track by far for me. Messed it up there in this lap. This one's not too bad. Hard on the brakes here, and again, turn left and or actually it's this one. Turn left. It's a blind corner. Keep left. You see the fighting the car for grip. You want to get as good a drive out of here as you can. This is a very, very important corner. It's where the time is really gained and lost in this section of the track. Brake just after the curbs on the left. There are going to be lots of different lines for this corner, so it's going to be an interesting one with regard overtakes. Another blind corner and really slippy. Depends on how stiff your car is. You want to get as much drive up the hill here, stay as flat as possible in that corner. And then another one where there are very few markers, and we'll go into the whole Portaloo situation on this track because it's a little bit out of control. There are Portaloos on every corner. So that's the lap. This was a 146.132. So we'll go to the next section and we'll start breaking down the corners a little bit. So obviously coming up the start finish straight, I'm running a bit of aero, so I'm not sure how your top speeds are going to be. You've got the 100 marker on the left hand side. I brake round about the curbs up here, so you can see my pedal inputs up here. I go well past the 100 mark and see the curb ends on the left hand side. That's pretty much when I start braking. Turn in, you can stay tight here. I can see some people probably going wide and cutting back. I think that this line is as close to optimal as I can get right now. The only thing that I'm doing really wrong here is look at my throttle input. I'm on the throttle, off the throttle, on the throttle, off the throttle. Ideally you pick and stick, commit, but I'm just not that good. 100 marker on the right hand side. You want to brake after that. I brake just a little bit after that. So right here, down 2 gears, try catch this apex. This is a little bit slippy on exit. You want to stay on the left hand side. I've seen some people go right out onto the curbs, and I've seen some people do a later apex than that. But this works for me. A little bit of a twitch on the way out. I think I'm not running enough rear aero, to be honest. So again, curbs on the left here. I brake just before the curbs, so it's actually just after the 100 mark. 100 mark you see on the left hand side of the screen there. Brakes come on here, and then you want to lay the apex this corner as well. It's an off camber. You see how my turn in starts perfectly, and then as soon as it starts going off camber, understeer sets in and you get forced way wide. So there's a lot of time to gain in that corner. This one here, it's a little bit more on camber, but it's a lot easier, it's a lot more forgiving. So that's all fine. Stay out to the right hand side here. Brake, I stay in 4th gear. I've not messed with the gearing. This is the standard long gearing. So here, this is a blind corner. This is one of the first ones where you really kind of you need a turn-in point. My turn-in point is kind of the cannon signs here. As soon as the apex lines up with the black in between the cannon signs, that's when I start turning in. That was a little bit late and I over-rotated a bit because I tried to overcompensate. So really I should have already been turning in. Around here. So I should really have started turning in here, but I was a little bit late. So here, out to the left hand side, another one of these corners, cut that apex and get your drive out. Lots of off camber bends here. You wouldn't get a motorbike around this track, I'd say, not very nicely. So way after the 100 here, and actually way after the curb starts, that's when I come off the accelerator on the brake, and I stay relatively tight here. Again, you could treat it like 2 corners, go nice and wide and cut back in. This is a very important corner, I think. I actually play it very safe here. I brake and coast up over the corner. If you, my suspension is probably a little bit too stiff. If you cut the curb there, you're going to start bouncing. If you're anyway unsettled, you're just going to spin the car around. Probably the worst place on the track to spin, because you're going to be accelerating up the hill on the next corner. So here you want to get as good a drive. You see I'm not completely coming off the accelerator, but I am backing off a little bit coming up this hill. Ideally you get on the power before that corner even starts and you commit all the way through. This is a bit of an ass of a corner. I look out for those portaloos, and then I know it's time to turn in as soon as I see the green fence. So portaloos, green fence, start turning in. I do one change down, try stay out to the left again, and then cut back. Sorry now that I'm not going into as much detail as I usually do, but circumstances. So that's that lap from that point of view. Hopefully that helps you a little bit. I don't think I'm doing the ideal lines. I'd like to get a lot more practice in, but it's okay. It's a good lap, and it should make a solid basis anyway. So the next thing is racecraft. Racecraft is going to be super important here. There are lots of straights where people are going to get in your draft, get beside you. If you get beside, it's a little similar to Road America in some ways. If you get beside somebody, it's basically fair game. You're both going to get slower, but one of you is going to get the position. If you are going through a section of the track that you know is really fast, and there's someone coming up behind you, because when you're battling with someone ahead of you, you don't want to bring the battle to a pace where the person behind you gets in on the action and can catch both of you napping. So sometimes it might be best just to let the battle happen on a section of the track where you've got lots and lots of pace, or where you're super confident, or where you know you've got better tires than somebody else. Don't be afraid to put pressure on people. You know where they're going to brake, you know where they're going to turn in and stuff like that. Force the mistake from them. You don't necessarily have to pass them like a hero. You can just put enough pressure on them to make them a little bit nervous. A little bit of a twitch on this track is going to cost you a lot of time. So often you're far better off just being consistent. If there is a car behind you, unless they're constantly getting up alongside you, I wouldn't worry too much about them here. Race your own race. If you can avoid, getting close to people in corners like this where there's relatively little runoff or relatively little straight after it. So for instance, if you're behind someone in this corner, there's no point in getting up alongside them. You're better off hanging back and really concentrating on the exit. For example, my exit here, I'm kind of almost on the middle of the track. But if you get way out to the left and you try to take advantage of the slipstream of the car in front, so if you're a car behind, you get way out to the left, as I turn into this corner, you should be almost intersecting my slipstream. And as I go wide, you can actually go on the right hand side, command the position, and force me onto the middle of the track, and you get the right hand side of the track. And if you do that right, you'd actually be in front of me coming up that hill. So lots and lots of opportunity for racing here. The live broadcast is going to be amazing. The highlights reel should be very good. Yeah, that's about it for racecraft. Let's go into setup. So I've stiffened my suspension quite a bit for this. I don't know if that's the right thing to do. Running quite high front aero, I think it's at 20 or so, and my rear aero is quite low, it's at 8 or so. So you can tell at times that my car is a bit twitchy. I'm not delighted about that, because especially when you're battling, the last thing you want to do is have an unpredictable car, and I think at the moment my setup is just a little bit unpredictable. I'd like it a bit more solid, but we'll hope for the best. I've spent some time on this setup. It is quick. Maybe I just need to get used to it a bit more. I'm going to run this setup in the race regardless of whatever happens. I got Roberto's setup as well. I need to try that out once I have time, but I haven't been able to do that yet, as you can see. Yeah, setup here. I've lowered the car as well. It's not a bumpy track, so you're actually you can see very loose there, and I didn't really do much. I turned in a little bit late. So that's not ideal. That's going to cook your tires. I know it's only a 20-minute race, but probably not ideal. Other than that, setup wise, this lap is done on low fuel. I actually found the car to handle quite well on higher fuel. It's a good bit slower. It's a good second and a half slower or so for me, but it was a bit more stable. So I recommend practicing on higher fuel and doing a couple of hot laps on the lower fuel if you really want to practice for your quali or get on the leaderboard. I did, I think, the 8th fastest time at the time that I was qualifying on race fuel, and then ended up with the 3rd fastest time, but some people have beaten that in the meantime again. So that's about it. Now I'm going to jump you straight into the nighttime footage. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll leave you with the nighttime footage. Thanks for watching. So now I'm going to do a quick lap with the weather accelerated, so it's actually going to turn to nighttime throughout this lap. Watch this. This track is just spectacular with the sol mod. Here we go. I'm going to kind of talk through it and see what we see here. If anybody's interested in how I've actually done this on an existing replay, because it was actually daytime when I did this lap, as you saw in the earlier section. But you can see lights starting to pop on at the side of the track. You can see the sky is getting a little bit moody, a little bit eerie, and really just loads of really nice lights on this track. This is probably like 100 times the normal speed, so you can see it's getting dark really fast now. Here we go, into nighttime. Check this out. Like, isn't that just... Like, this game was never supposed to have nighttime transitions. It was never supposed to have any of that stuff, and And here we are. Kunos, the developers, actually completely abandoned any efforts because they said it was never going to be possible to have multiple light sources and all that kind of stuff. And just look at this. I mean, now obviously we don't have headlights here. It'd be even more spectacular if we did have headlights, but look at that lighting at the side. It's just completely crazy, and especially as we approach the start finish straight, if it doesn't already get bright. I'm not sure if it's going to get bright before the end of this lap, but just absolutely stunning. I mean, I could watch this all day, and it's even better when you're actually racing, when you're actually doing a race with day and night transitions. I know a lot of other games have this. Assetto Corsa didn't have it by default. Here we go. Coming up the hill now towards the last corner. Beautiful lighting at the side. The sky is really kind of, I think it's starting to, the sun is starting to rise, I think. Coming up the start finish straight. Look at the detail and the light and everything. I'm just actually going to stop here on the middle of the straight. Just have a little look around. That is damn cool for a game that was never supposed to have day and night transitions. It's pretty good going. We'll see actually what time of the day it is. So this is going pretty quick. You can see it's 20 past 11. We can actually go towards dawn. Here we go. 6 hours. What time is dawn? There we go. Right. So it should get bright on this lap. Probably actually a better view from on board. But beautiful lighting effects, really cool. I don't know, am I just completely nerding out on this stuff, but I really like it. I think it's so cool. I think the lights at the side of the track will switch off soon enough because it's bright enough. Not 100% sure on that. Yeah, I think they're actually off now. How cool is that? One more night transition. Can't get enough of it. I know I'm not talking a lot, I'm just taking individuals. It's really nice to watch a lap that I've already done and see the day-night transitions happen. Obviously, when they happen this quickly, they're not as realistic, but I'll just show you guys quickly how you can actually achieve this yourselves. The first thing you need the Sol mod installed. I'm not going to go into detail on how to install that. You need the Sol weather app enabled, so you go into your Assetto Corsa apps and you just enable that, and then here you play around with this. It's a little bit of a clunky interface, but you can basically speed up the time. You can see the time multiplier is at 147, but you can slow it down so you can make time go backwards. You can jump forward 6 hours, you can jump forward or back 45 minutes, 5 minutes, all that. So it's pretty cool to play around with. Really cool when you're looking to get really nice screenshots. For example, if we do go up the pit straight here, oops, come back here. Here we can go into photo mode and move the camera around here. can actually get super dramatic photos. It's damn cool. You can spend hours getting lost in photo mode. Pretty damn cool. Alright, that's enough of that. Cheers for watching, guys.